Can AI make me a pattern? 2 items, see if AI can create a pattern and see how they turn out. And sorry for my glasses, there's a lot of reflection going on, but I'm just really excited about this. I think it's cool. Hi and welcome back to Briar Sews. Today I am doing a challenge which is, can AI make me a pattern? And I've been thinking about this so much. Can AI take our measurements and give us a decent pattern? Because sometimes I get so confused trying to measure up what these self-drafted patterns should be. So I thought it'd be really fun today, plug all my measurements in to ChatGPT and see what he spits out. Plug all my measurements in and see what is spat out to me to make. So my plan is to make 2 items, very simple, very common self-drafted items. First one will be a white 5-tier rectangle dress. I've decided I'll be using this white embroidered cotton. I think it'd be really cute. I want a full skirt from this, full maxi skirt. So I'll see what will be coming out from ChatGPT. And the second item will be a shirred top strapless. I'm currently reading a book called The Wedding People, and in it she mentioned, there's this joke that grown women don't wear tube tops, we wear strapless blouses. So in my head I'm making a shirred strapless blouse. Let me know if you've read that book. Let's get underway. Okay, so I've just changed a little bit of the requests on the maxi skirt. I put in 2 tiers and I wanted 5, so I'm just waiting for that to spit me back. But in the meantime, the shirred strapless top, our strapless blouse, will be fitted stretchy tube top with shirring and optional peplum or ruffle at the hem, which we will make that decision. I probably wouldn't mind a little ruffle. And then says the pattern draft is you're going to cut 1 main bodice piece, width before shirring is 1.5 of bust, so that's 54 inches, and then height it gives me a range of 13 to 15. So that's pretty standard, I think. Oh, it does give you assembly instructions, my apologies. So we've got hem, top, bonnet edges. I'm going to hem it, shirr 1/4 inch apart and 15 to 20 rows. Then sew the side seams to form the tube, add gathered ruffle, try it on. Simple. Let's go. 54 inches makes it like here. And that's going to get shirred in. I don't know why I'm finding this so hard. Now, and sew along that for my top hem. Now I'll leave the sides and the bottom open in case I want to have that ruffle and to connect the sides at the end. Before I get to the shirring, I'm going to overlock my hems and then sew that top rolled hem, just that's all sorted and I don't have to stretch them back out again once we're done. So here we go. This says the edge is actually salvaged, so I'm not going to touch that one because it's already sealed. And the same on this one. I was doing some hemming for a neighbour, I know. And I nearly started going on a zigzag blind hem stitch with the tension of 2. So that'd have been terrible. Anyway.
So I'm going to straight stitch down my rolled hem here.
On stitch length 3, because I saw an Instagram reel that said stitch length 3 makes it look professional. Apparently we don't use 2. I don't know. We'll see. Beautiful, so professional. Ooh, gorgeous. Onto the shirring. So, wind my bobbin elastic and we'll put that into the bottom and leave our cotton thread on the top. Fun story. The first time I ever did any shirring, I thought you had to put elastic in the bobbin thread and on the top thread up here, and I can tell you it turned out atrociously. So do not use bobbin elastic thread up here, use normal thread. That is my hot tip. I was so confused why everything kept jamming, it just wasn't looking right. Then I googled it and I found out. Alright, so I'm going to say, it says 1/4 inch. What's a quarter? Is half a half inch, and that in normal people speak is, well, it's just under a centimetre, isn't it? Let's do a centimetre spacing between my shirring, and setting the stitch length for my shirring to 4, and I'm just going to test my tension if I need to change it on a scrap. So I'll just do this piece. And that, I think I'm going to set a tension of 3 on my machine with my hand winding that I did, and a length of 4. I'm concerned this is too wide. By the time it... Trust the process. We'll just trust the process. Okay. So I tried not finishing my stitch and just doing a U-turn towards the other way, which is a way to do shirring and save on thread, except I think it's not going to be as good when I go to match these 2 pieces together. So I'm just going to keep back stitching at the end of each row and continue like that. It just kind of curls it around a bit, so I think that's just going to be annoying, and I just don't like how uneven I think it's going to make me end up sewing. Good to try, but not for me. So I need to wind my bobbin again. I've gotten this much done, which will sit on the top of my bust, essentially. It's actually tightened up a fair whack of the ticket. I'm just wondering now if I can start spacing them out a bit, because I need a lot of shirring. Like every 2 centimeters, I'll wind my bobbin and come back to you. I'm using a skewer to tape it on my 2 centimeter mark, so then I know where my last shirr needs to be in line with. We shall see. Okay, I'm going to keep sharing this and come back to you when I've finished both my panels, because this is quite time consuming and you probably don't need to see all of it. I'm back. It's about an hour and a bit later, and I've got my back and my front. I ran out of white elastics, I had to move to my black, otherwise I wasn't going to get this done. So you can't see it from the front, which is fine, but we do have some black elastic. This is my front piece, and I started doing every 2 centimeters. I did not like the look of it, so I brought it back up to every 1 centimeter, and then on the back piece, I have made it every 2 centimeters from the top to the bottom, which I think would be quite fine because it's going to be on your back. You don't have the lumps and bumps of the lady parts at the front that you want a bit more shaping around. So I think having it slightly different back and front is fine. Plus I'm also kind of getting a bit bored of shirring. So shirring. Anyway, I'm getting a bit bored of it, so I wanted to move on. So we're doing 2 centimeters. Who cares? More importantly is we get to do the fun bit now where we steam it and it all constricts. The constricting part, you know, like when you iron it, and I'm just love this bit. It's so satisfying. So I will get my iron going and set you up so you can be a part of this satisfying. Look at that. Look at that. And I think I've got a self-made little ruffle peplum, which is awesome. I have my 2 pieces all shirred and ironed. Now I'm going to just overlock the sides together, put it on, see how far I want the ruffle hem to stick out, and we're done, which means we are already nearly halfway through. Alright, let's stab. Ow, ow. I put pins in this, I forgot. And I'm overlocking to use it to cut off all of those scraggly bits at the end. You see here, really messy, so I'm just getting rid of all of that. There we go. How much neater does that look? Yay! So I'll do that on the other side. Time for a little try on. Alright, this is looking really cute. The length is perfect. I'm just going to put it's just got the overlocker on the edge, and I was just monkeying around, and I might put the little lace trim on the back of it, just fold that up so this is poking out just the smidgiest of bits at the bottom, and then maybe just put a little tiny bow here at the front. I think that just makes it so cute. So I'll do that, and then I'm going to start on the skirt. So I will get out of this and I will brief you on what the AI has to say about our skirt pattern. And sorry for my glasses, there's a lot of reflection going on, but I'm in my attic and this is my light. I have 2 big windows, but otherwise it's quite dark. Anyway, I'm just really excited about this. I think it's cool. I reckon AI generated pattern 1 for the top is a success. Really like that. I've changed a few things around just because I can, but on the whole, really actually impressed with that one. 5-tier rectangle skirt is going to be 5 horizontal tiers, and it's going to be my waist measurement 27 inches, hips 39, and I'm going to make it long maxi, so about 40 inches. Tier breakdown, this is great. Okay, so each is a horizontal and it gets progressively wider. Yeah, cute, I like that, 5 equal tiers. So tier 1 is 1.5 times your hips. Tier 2, 1.5.
Times tier 1. Tier 3 is 1.5, tier 2, tier 4 is 0.5, 1.5, tier 3, 0.5, tier 5 is 1.5, tier 4. Okay, and each inches.
So they haven't actually said to increase your width of your first tier for the casing, so I don't know if that's like a oversight, but because ChatGPT hasn't told me that, I can't assume that, so I'm just going to go exactly with what they've said. So 7 inches, and using the top edge as a waistband casing. Alright, so I will start cutting down my 5 tiers. So I'm most definitely going to have to put some of these together. It's probably going to take me a little bit of time to cut this all out. It shouldn't be too hard to put together. I don't know how much time I've got today. We're going to a quiz night tonight, so I'll start cutting out and then I might have to come back tomorrow to finish sewing it together. Yay! 60 plus 19, 39. I don't know if I've actually got enough. by 26. So if I have 26, 79, let's say 80 and 26. So 7, 1, 2. I'm not gonna have fabric for 5 tiers. How devastating. Oh no, this is folded. Oh. Okay, it's folded. I might be able to get 4 tiers if I do it right. One layer, not 2. Remind me, left is number 1. Left, 1, 2, 3, 4 on my ironing board. I'll put all the things here and how I've changed them. I'll do that, what ChatGPT gave me, and then what I changed them to because I don't have enough fabric. Okay, good chat. So I've got my tiers all cut out and I've pinned them mostly together to sew right sides together, overlock them, and then sew them all gathered and etc. But I don't have time for that today, so I will catch back in with you tomorrow to finish off our AI challenge, and then hopefully I can show you the full finished piece. I'm quite excited. Like, it's been simpler than I thought it would be to get the information from AI. I'm using ChatGPT, so yes, we'll see how the final products actually go though, and if this is like a new hack we can all use. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. We were able to get back into the sewing room, however my baby decided not to nap, so I was having to have him in the background watching Baby Boss on the TV. So the main part was we were doing gathering stitches on all of the tiers, and attaching to the waistband for tier 1 here, and making sure all my gathers were equal around the whole width, and leaving a gap into my waist tier so I could thread elastic later. Essentially all of these tiers had to be gathered to meet the width of the bottom of the tier above, so each tier progressively got wider and obviously took longer to gather and make sure it was all even and spaced out. I did a bit of a shortcut and only did 1 basting stitch on each tier. I wasn't bothered to do 2. It worked out fine. I didn't have any broken thread. I was very careful with that. But obviously having 2 basting stitches for your gathering does make it a lot easier and a lot more even. I just decided not to and had fun with it. And I also decided to see how fast I could make my sewing machine go in a single straight stitch, which was really fun. And unfortunately I forgot to put my rubber mat down. I stole my husband's, one of his gaming mouse mats, which is really big for his keyboard, and I normally put it under my sewing machine. Didn't today, and so you can see the sewing machine dances around a bit, but I can tell you what, these Singer heavy duties can go fast when you want them to. Once I had all my tiers gathered, I attached them to the waistband and started overlocking them as we went. So each tier was pretty straightforward. It all went well. I just was making sure that my right sides were facing together, as the embroidery on the fabric was a little bit hard to tell sometimes. So that was my only concern when I was doing this. Otherwise it all came together really, really straightforward and had a lot of fun piecing each tier together. The last thing to do was to thread the elastic and sew up the end of it. I also just did a straight stitch around the base of the elastic so it wouldn't slip around in my waistband. Otherwise it was all very straightforward. Then by this point my bubba decided he'd had enough of watching TV by himself, so he came up and joined me in my sewing attic and loves sitting there on my lap watching the needle go up and down and helping mum with needles and pins and turning the sewing machine on and off. Thankfully it was towards the end of my project and it all came together pretty much just before he came along. Can't wait to show you the final reveal. editing Briar here, and I just wanted to summarize how I found this whole experience. And I think I have to say I was pretty impressed by the patterns that AI spat out, and I reckon there's a few more that I would love to try and test out. My one thing was the shirred top was great, no problems there, and I liked that I added a few little other details around the lace. The second thing was I struggled with remembering I could go back to AI when I had my tiered rectangle. So essentially I wanted 5 tiers, but I didn't have enough fabric on hand, and I should have earlier realized I could go back and ask AI to modify my pattern request with the information, or the material that I had rather. My feedback would be to give a bit more information up front when you start inputting your information into ChatGPT. So I put in all my information, and the measurements I gave it was my high bust, my waist, my hips, my bust to waist ratio, and my bust to hips ratio. Ideally as well, what I would do is also input how much fabric I have, 4 meters or 4 meters by 140 centimeters or whatever it is, to also make sure that the pattern it spits back to me is going to have enough fabric. Or sorry, I'm going to have enough fabric for the pattern it gives back to me. So for the 5-tier dress, I didn't have enough fabric, but when I provided my fabric that I had on hand, it gave me a couple of options saying you could do a 3-tier, or you could make the skirt less puffy, and then I was able to say I want 4 tiers, and then it kind of gave me the middle ground on all of that. So really, really cool, I think, but I have to remember in the future that I can go back and put that information in. My tip would be, give all those measurements that I provided to ChatGPT, and also your fabric you have in a square meterage, because then it can give you a bit more of an accurate pattern design if you were going to do a rectangle skirt or the shirred top like I did. I think there's a few more patterns I'd like to do, so please comment below if you liked this, what you thought, if there's any other patterns or style you would recommend me to try out. I had a lot of fun doing this one, and I think it's really, really cool, a different way to use AI and ChatGPT. Yeah, so as I said before, please let me know what you think, what you thought, and if there's anything else. Also loving connecting with everyone, so please comment, like, subscribe, and reach out to me. I'm having so many cool conversations with so many other creators and, well, creative people crafting things in their own lives, so it's been really, really cool, and I look forward to connecting with more of you. Thanks.